Do you know what the TKT is? Of course you know. What you might not know is the TKT YL. Today, I'm going to talk about the Young Learners Teachers Test. I'm going to tell you what it is, what it involves, the results and notifications of results, and how to register. But only if you subscribe to this channel. Have you subscribed yet? So, let's go. Hello exam seekers, I'm Patty and today I'm talking about the Teaching Knowledge Test Young Learners. I've recently uploaded a video about the TKT. If you haven't watched yet, make sure you do. In that video, I gave you an overview of the Teaching Knowledge Test. As I mentioned in my previous video, the TKTs are designed to encourage teachers in their professional development by providing a step in their progression on the Cambridge English Teaching Framework. Candidates can also use the TKT to assess further training and enhance career opportunities. The TKT is divided into 3 core modules: the TKT Module 1, Language and Background to Language Learning and Teaching, TKT Module 2, Lesson Planning and Use of Resources for Language Teaching, and TKT Module 3, Managing the Teaching and Learning Process. And there are also 2 specialist modules, the TKT CLIL, Content and Language Integrated Learning, and the TKT YL, the Young Learners. So, in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about the TKT Young Learners. I'm going to tell you what it is and how it differs from the TKT 3 core modules. Also, I'm going to tell you what it involves and how you get the results. So, what is the TKT YL? The TKT Young Learners is part of the Cambridge English Teaching Qualifications. It means that it focuses on assessing your teaching skills. This test doesn't have specific requirements though. People who apply for these exams don't necessarily need to have any teaching experience or entry qualifications. However, candidates are expected to be familiar with language related to the practice of teaching English, and they have to enjoy children. So what are the differences between the TKT and the TKT YL? Remember that this is not a regular TKT. It is the Young Learners version. There are similarities between teaching adults and teaching young learners. Teachers of young learners will need many of the same skills in planning, teaching, classroom management, and language proficiency as teachers of adults. However, there are 4 key areas where teaching young learners differ from teaching adults. 1. Young learners are still developing cognitively, linguistically, socially, emotionally, and physically. They are also discovering the rules for interacting with others and learning to understand their own reactions to others and to events. 2. Young learners often have no apparent reason for learning English, while many adults choose to learn English for a specific job-related purpose or for personal reasons. 3. Young learners may not always have well-developed literacy skills to support their learning of English. And 4. Young learners often learn slowly and forget quickly. As I mentioned, the TKT YL doesn't have specific requirements, although it is suitable for teachers of young learners who already teach other curriculum subjects in their first language. Specialist young learners teachers who teach only English, or teachers of older learners or adults who also wish to teach young learners. Another question that people usually ask me is if the TKTs are only a test. The short answer is yes, it is only a test. However, some people actually take courses before sitting for these kinds of tests due to the amount of language and input it requires. Moreover, TKT prep courses usually help teachers to get ready for the real deal in a classroom, because it involves the learning and development of young learners, planning lessons for them, teaching strategies, practice activities, and resources used to support and challenge language learning. It also tests knowledge of informal classroom assessment of young learners' work. If you are taking the Cambridge CELT-P, which is a qualification for English language teachers working in primary education to kids from ages 6 to 12, the TKT YL module comes as a prize. They use it to assess your knowledge regarding what you've learned from the course. I've already recorded a video about the CELT-P, make sure you check it out. Okay. On the other hand, if you are not taking a course to better study for this test, you can find a non-exhaustive list of teaching terminology and definitions in the TKT glossary. I'll make sure to leave the link in the description, okay? Now, let's understand what the TKT YL involves. It is a paper-based test. The exam takes around 1 hour and 20 minutes to answer the 80 matching and multiple choice questions. Candidates should fill their answer sheets by shading the correct boxes with a pencil. Each question carries 1 mark. This is a sample question. For questions 68 to 73, look at the incomplete statement about assessing children in class and the 3 options for completing them listed, A, B, and C. 2 of the options would be good teacher decisions about assessing children in class. 1 of the options would not be a good teacher decision. Mark the option A, B, or C, which would not be a good teacher decision on your answer sheet. As you can see, the tests are quite simple with A, B, or C questions. You just have to be careful when reading what is asked. By the way, can you guess the answers for the questions 68 to 73? Now, let me tell you about the results and notifications of results. After Cambridge receives the answer sheets, they take around 2 to 4 weeks to provide an answer to the center through which you enrolled. The grading process involves bands, being band 1 the lowest and the band 4 the highest. Band 4, an extensive knowledge of TKT YL content areas. Band 3, breadth and depth of knowledge of TKT YL content areas. Band 2, basic but systematic knowledge of TKT YL content areas. And Band 1, limited knowledge of TKT YL content areas. You also receive a certificate. In front of the certificate, there is the name of the TKT module, your name, the number of your certificate, the date and the place of issue, and the band you got. At the back, there is the explanation about the bands. Last but not least, how do you register for the TKT YL? You must enter through an authorized Cambridge English examination or teaching qualifications center. Some centers require candidates to enroll in the course, but it's not mandatory. And the entries must be at least 6 weeks in advance of the test date, especially if you have special requirements which you need special arrangements. As I mentioned before, if you enroll for the CELT-P, you will get the TKT Young Learners for free. So maybe instead of taking the TKT YL, you should take the CELT-P and get the TKT YL. The TKT is the first step to other Cambridge certifications. Usually, after taking the TKT modules, teachers enroll in the CELTA course. Until 2016, teachers could also take the CELTA YL extension. However, Cambridge Qualifications stopped providing it and opened 2 other branches, the CELT-P Certificate in English Language Teaching Primary and the CELT-S Certificate in English Language Teaching Secondary. Make sure you check them out. As I mentioned, I made a video about it and I'll leave the links in the description. Well, I hope I have cleared some questions, and if you still have more questions about the TKT, please comment in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to help. I will also, as I mentioned, leave the links to all the related videos and content I mentioned. Okay? Make sure you check them out. If you want more content like this one, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and every time there is a new video, YouTube will tell you. Also, don't forget to like this video so that I know that this content is relevant for you. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching me, and see you next time. Bye bye. Remember, knowledge is never enough. Bye bye. Another question that people usually ask me is another